This project was made possible with the support of Cal Humanities, a nonprofit partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Visit www.calhum.org.
I was born in Chicago. My whole family was born in Chicago. They immigrated from Ireland and Austria, my father's side, Ireland on my mother's side. But from there on, we traveled quite a bit because my father was an entertainer, and he was a jazz musician, and he had his own band. And we traveled mostly in the South, where the gigs he got down there. And we lived all over the South, Savannah, Georgia, Mobile, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi, just about everywhere down there. I remember the Grand Ole Opry. It's the only radio station on the radio, and that's what we listened to all the time for our music. Fast forward, lived in Los Angeles, was raised there for a while, and then off to San Francisco to live with my mother because my mother were separated. San Francisco was primarily where I got my education, but following my graduation in high school in September or June of 1968, I was drafted. My number came right up. So by September of 68, I was in boot camp. So all the big plans I had following high school were kind of nowhere. In high school, I was taking a full load in high school and working 50 hours a week. So I was really busy, and I had big plans, bought myself a motorcycle. I was pretty happy until the draft came along. But I did what I had to do, and I joined the Navy because my father was in the Navy in the Pacific Fleet on the USS Bonham Richard during World War II. My brother was in the Navy during peacetime in the Mediterranean Fleet. So following, fast forward again to my last duty station was in Kaneohe Bay in Hawaii on the windward side of the island. My last duty station was a medical dispensary, which I really enjoyed the work there. I learned x-ray, was running the whole department by myself and doing dispensary work, working with the doctors, and it was pretty diverse and pretty educational. Following my discharge at Treasure Island, which was still an active duty station, they always discharge you the duty station closest to your home, so I went to Treasure Island, and it was still active duty at the time. Got a little bit of trouble there, but I finally made it out of there. Following my discharge, I was living with my brother down on Ramona Street, down in the Mission District, in an old house that was pre-quake. It was built before the big quake in '06. And it wasn't really couch surfing, but it stayed with, family. I really didn't make a big deal out of my time in the service. It really wasn't talked about much. And my transition was pretty seamless. I had no problem with transitioning out of the service. I had some bad memories from the service, but I had good ones too. Went to work right away with the skills I had in medicine, which was kind of great. They kind of like respected the fact that I had more skills than they realized. So I worked in orthopedics and ICU and CCU and pretty much everything, and it was a great job. My service really benefited me in my career after I got out. And I met a girl. She was gorgeous. It was love at first sight for both of us. The sparks were there, the fireworks were there. We just felt totally head over heels in love. Next thing I know, we're on our way to Reno. We're going to get married. We stopped at Treasure Island because we didn't have a ring, and went into the dispensary and bought a ring, and it was gold. It had the appearance of diamonds the way it was cut. It really didn't have any diamonds, but it looked like it did. And we both liked it. Cost $17. So we grabbed the ring, jumped back on the Bay Bridge, and it was off to Reno. And when we got there, we went to a little chapel called the Heart of Reno. And her being a Mormon, not like radical type of Mormon, just a really good Christian, really sweet girl. I went to church with her whenever she wanted, even though I wasn't like really into the Mormon religion. When we got married at the Heart of Reno, she had told me about the traditions behind the Mormon religion and when you get married. And they don't say, until death do you part at the end. They say for time and all eternity. So I slipped the preacher $10 and asked him, because they recorded on cassette, that when you get to the end of the ceremony, could you please say for time and all eternity, and surprise her. And that's what he did. And her eyes kind of got big, and she was totally surprised and just so happy she started crying. So that was the best experience. And my life just went on from there in medicine and being married, and everything went well, and I was happy.
This project was made possible with the support of Cal Humanities, a nonprofit partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Visit www.calhum.org.